there's a reason why Star Wars is the modern mythology of our time. The greatest teacher Star Wars is.
So,
oh gosh,
you got Timothy Zahn to weigh in on your role-playing game?
The Force of Others, a Star Wars podcast.
Hello there, and welcome to The Force of Others. I'm Matt Beutner. I am alone for right now. I do not have Zachary Owen Turner with me, but that's because we've got a great interview to get to. Two guests at once on the show this week. Good dudes and good takes on the galaxy far, far away. We go really, really deep on what Star Wars means to us and why it still matters as adults, on top of a bunch of other nonsense, including Lego Star Wars and all other kinds of things. Without further ado, let's get to it.
All right, and we are here in the interview cantina with both hosts of the Determined Focused podcast. We got Will from Will of the Force and Grayson, a.k.a. Mortis FM, both here on The Force of Others. Welcome to the show, guys. How y'all doing today?
Dude, we're doing great. Thank you for having both of us, especially, like, is this your first time having, like, two people on at the same time, or no?
I am racking my brain right now.
Well, you did the Rebel Scum one with
You're right. You're exactly right.
Right. Okay.
With Bobby and Dante.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic
Goats.
interview.
Yeah.
Literally goats.
Yeah.
I knew, that people are Star Wars fans, but I didn't know Bobby's level of specifically droid fandom until he started explaining the collection of B1s, and I was like, I had no idea who I was dealing with.
Oh
this
my
is awesome.
goodness.
Yep.
I honestly, I
awesome.
don't think there's anyone who could beat him in that regard. I think he might be the reigning champ of battle droid knowledge and fandom.
Well, he was saying the collection that he displayed, it's got to be some kind of record-holding collection, I guess. I don't know if everybody keeps track of that.
The one in the case that was behind Matt Wood's table at Rebel Scum Con, it's like the definitive B1 collection of like every possible variant that you could find.
It's wild.
And he got
to give one to Matt Wood, which was crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Insane.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But sick.
Speaking of Rebel Scum Con, just we'll go right into it. How was y'all's Rebel Scum Con experience?
Will, I'll let you go first.
Okay. It was fun. It was a blast. I mean, we had been kind of working with Rebel Scum for a few months at that point to help out with some marketing stuff. And Dante, who runs the marketing for Rebel Scum, is the best. So getting to interact with him and work with him in a small capacity for Rebel Scum was a blast. But yeah, it was an awesome convention. I mean, we have been to a ton of other conventions as creators and as fans, and truly, I have no qualms in saying that was the most fun I have had at a convention, and I think it is truly the best convention I've ever been to. And they're not paying me to say that, so it is. It was so much fun, from the other creators to the guests, and then just for us having a small role in the collection of interviews and being able to talk to people in the way we did. It was a blast, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally the only addendum I have to that is, I mean, it's just like mini Star Wars celebration. I've been lucky enough to only go to one celebration that was, oh my gosh, almost 10 years ago at this point. And it, while celebration delves more into like the announcements and the hype of the movies and stuff, the other half of that is kind of is the community aspect, and that's where Rebel Scum really focuses in on. That is the community, whether content creators or people who are in Star Wars, actors and voice actors and puppeteers and people who made props and little diorama. Like, I mean, it's just insane. So yeah, like one of the best cons I've ever been to. It's crazy that it was only its second year. I will be going every year for the rest of my life if I can.
Yep.
Yeah, I was, I mean, the only thing that I'll add, really, I was kicking myself because last year, I'm a North Texas guy, and I heard that convention was happening, and I was kind of busy with work, and so I just put it off. I'll go another time. And then I saw how awesome it was, and I've been just kicking myself for a year. So there was no way I was going to miss it.
Yep.
I too have only been to one other Star Wars celebration, but it was the first one in 1999 for fandom.
Whoa!
I was 10, but I was there. I haven't been to one
Crazy.
since, but I'll echo everything y'all said. Rebel Scum Con was easily the best convention I've ever been to.
So you went.
Yeah.
That was in the first one was in Denver, right?
It was in Denver, Colorado. Yeah,
That is
I was there.
crazy.
I was just old enough to remember. You had to wait in line for everything for like 2 hours, but we waited in line to buy the CD for the soundtrack, and then on the back was Qui-Gon's Noble End. And so spoiled a month before.
Oh,
It's what David Collins was
Yeah.
talking about on the soundtrack show.
yes, yeah.
Like months before the movie came out. Or I don't remember exactly when it was. And I was like, oh, wait, what? And I was just 10. So it's like, okay, that's kind of weird. But I was surrounded by people that were losing their mind that they got that casually spoiled. But anyway, there's some random Star Wars history for you. But speaking of Qui-Gon Jinn, I wanted to ask, it's probably pretty obvious, but I want to tee y'all up for this. What made y'all decide to name your podcast Determined Focus?
Ooh.
Will, that's all you, buddy. That's your baby right there.
Yeah. So Determined Focus was your focus determines your reality is my favorite quote in not only just Star Wars, but it's truly, if I had to pick a mantra to go with, it's probably the best lesson outside of the other best lesson. Now, also from Star Wars is they are what you grow beyond. Failure is the greatest teacher. It's because of that. Originally, the show started out as a focus on just scenes. So it was really a way to have people on to talk about their favorite scene in Star Wars. You'd pick a scene, and then for a half hour to an hour, it was just me and whoever that creator is who picked it, just gushing about that scene, going piece by piece, literally pause right here, 10 seconds, pause right here. So that was a fun way to describe it as Determined Focus. But very quickly, and honestly, before I even started doing that, I was like, I want to make this more than just one scene and be able to talk about more than just obviously one portion of one very minuscule piece of Star Wars. I want to talk about all of it. And I had done that on the internet for a while before that, but had Grayson on for one of those first 4 episodes, and Grayson and I were friends prior to that. And then I was like, hey, I want to turn this into something else right around Celebration. And it was one of the 100 text messages that Grayson and I send back and forth about Star Wars daily. And I was just like, hey, we should probably do this. And he was like, yeah, we probably should. And Determined Focus. That's how it came to be. YFDYR.
Yeah. You also failed to mention, the first iteration that I had knowing you loved that quote so much was those bracelets that you would wear. I remember you sent me a picture months and months ago, maybe even end of almost a year ago at this point, and you would have these bracelets of the little squares, and it had the YFDYR. I think you also had the always get back up.
I had a couple of those quotes. I've got them on a cup right here. There's like a bunch of them, but like that one, a quote that is funny, but like I think is also extremely knowledgeable is fly casual. That's one that of just like staying calm. Always get back up. Obviously, most of these are Luke Skywalker quotes anyway, because that's the guy. But it's always been kind of my favorite quote. And then just getting more into Star Wars creation and being able to make stuff on my own. Your focus truly does determine your reality, and that is a lesson that I am reminded of daily.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. My end of it as well. I'll do the flip side, give it a little bit of lore here. Because actually, I spoke a little bit about it actually yesterday, but not at lengths, and so I'll get a little bit opportunity to gush about my best friend. So people who don't know, I started doing content about 2 years ago, under the Mortis FM name, and that was with Cole, my best friend, my co-host, and myself, and it was Mortis FM, a Star Wars podcast, or Mortis FM the podcast, whatever you want to call it. And so we did that well, it was weird, not consistently for about a year, because there was a lot of like kind of points where we were doing it really consistently, and then we weren't. But I was also doing a lot of the small time content and stuff like that. And Cole and I are both very busy people, Cole especially, and so it kind of got to a point earlier this year when Andor was coming out, which Andor was like I love Andor, but it was those 3 episodes a week. So it was 3 hours every week, and you're getting on a podcast to talk about it. And it's just like you're cranking out it's a lot different when it's like a skeleton crew, right? Where you get like a 30 to maybe 50-minute episode, one episode, right? And then you can immediately hop on and talk about it. And so anyway, Cole, the trooper that he is a like some chronic health issues and things like that. And so he was, I am thankful enough and blessed enough that we had a conversation and he was like, hey, you should just keep doing this. So anyway, I'm grateful enough that he was like, keep doing this. Like, you're super passionate about it. You're good at it. And kind of right after that, or maybe kind of right around that, Will was like, hey, would you want to do Determined Focus with me? And so the timing just kind of lined up perfectly. And so, yeah, like I literally had just crossed the threshold of like only a couple days ago of doing content. And so I kind of took over the Mortis FM name. And Cole has been like my number one supporter. He's always like, I'm texting him every week and, you know, keeping him updated on not only what Will and I are doing, but also what I'm doing in general. We've been friends for like a decade now. The timing lined up. And so truly, when I think of like the lineage and like the kind of the road that I've gone through content the past 2 years, which is crazy that I've been doing it for 2 years. Not that I'm some big creator or anything. Cole and Will are truly the two biggest people who have been like so supportive in that. And so yeah, it kind of ties into the whole Determined Focus thing. But yeah, when we were, I think Will was brainstorming the idea, like we did the scene breakdowns and everything, and then it's just kind of stuck, and it has been very good. It has been really especially like with Rebel Scum specifically, with Dante and Bobby and Kentucky and Josh, like those guys were such big supporters of Will and I. And that collaboration was such a big deal for us. So yeah, I mean, we practice what we preach. That's kind of the moral there, is if
Try
we're gonna
to.
we keep focusing and try to determine our reality. And so far it's been pretty great. So I'm personally, as someone who like, we love the X-Wing aesthetic, of course, and we love I love Jedi and I love X-Wings. So does Will, and we were like, that works.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I figured it had something to do with the quote, "Your focus determines your reality." But easily one of the best Star Wars quotes, and one of my favorite quotes in the whole franchise. But so moving into kind of our proper interview template, kind of our whole thing here on this show is the Force of Others, right? There's the Cosmic Force, and there's the Living Force, and there's the original name from the Force for the first drafts, and that was the Force of Others. This whole thing, in my opinion, is about connection, making connections with other people. And so for all Star Wars fans, but especially for content creators, I kind of want to have an avenue for y'all to share what it is that you like about this stuff. You know what I mean? What your journey was. So starting with that, and we'll start with Will first. Where were you when you first saw Star Wars, or what's the first Star Wars memory that you have?
I was in the second floor of my grandmother's house in Sarasota, Florida. I know exactly where I was.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have the VHS tapes, actually. So for some reason, my grandparents are not Star Wars fans. They were not Star Wars fans when I was a kid. My parents really weren't Star Wars fans. I don't even know. My mom, I mean, she might have, like, when they're playing on like FX or something, but like I don't even think she's watched all the way through Star Wars. But I saw the box for the special editions that you could mail away for in 96 would have been when that was away. So it was probably like 97, 98 when I was watching it. Just, hey, go upstairs. I was a big, energetic, loud, hyper kid. So, hey, go upstairs and do whatever I was also the only grandchild at that point. So I was the only kid. So go upstairs and go find whatever you can to go mess around with and play with. There's a VHS player, and they had the special edition collector's set. So you got each of the 3 VHS tapes. There's posters in it. There's like a really heavy, like 3-pound plaque that says the Star Wars special editions on it. And the first movie I had ever watched was Return of the Jedi because the cover I thought was the coolest out of the 3 for the special editions. Because the special edition Return of the Jedi cover, as we all know, has like the green in the background. It's got Chewbacca.
Yeah.
It's got Jabba on it. So I plugged that one in, and I was like, "What is this?" And then proceeded to every other day that I was over there, because we lived right down the street from my grandmother, go over there and just burn that VHS tape to the ground. Which, to the point where like the VHS tapes are in there and it's more of a memento than anything else in that box, but they don't work at all. I have all the other ones that I burned through that are right next to it. The gold VHS cardboard box, and then there's the silver as well. But yeah, that was the first time I had ever watched Star Wars, and I've been hooked ever since. I have never been able to stop talking about Star Wars since that point. So, yeah.
Hard relate. And I if you said this in the story, I missed it. How old were you at that point?
Oh, 2 or 3 or right around there. I was born in 96, so I am as old as the special editions.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I wish I had memories from when I was that young, but I don't. I got nothing.
It's more blurs of like understanding the living room and like Star Wars being on there because I did it so much. It's like when you have those first memories of like, oh yeah, I remember what my mom's car smelled like that kind of thing, where it's like if I had to draw it, I could, but it's like I know I lived it. It's that kind of thing. Grayson beats me though for the first time he watched Star Wars because he didn't even see it. He was there, but he didn't even watch it.
Well, all right. Tell us, man.
I guess. I guess that's that's not where I was going to start, but I guess that's a good point.
You have to start there. That's like you beat everybody.
Yeah,
I think I can see where this is going, but hit it.
Yeah. So I was born in 1999. My birthday was actually yesterday. So you can imagine the timeline of when Phantom Menace came out in 1999. My mom was only a few months away from having me. I only learned last year that my mom and my dad did go to the movies to see the Phantom Menace. My mom fell asleep. But I was there. And listen, that has to be a subconscious thing. And for context as well, my dad is a massive Star Wars fan. Like my dad knows ball. All right. Like Will has met my dad, like, yeah. And so like right now, like at the top of his wish list of like Star Wars things that he wants Baylan Skoll's lightsaber. He's like, I want Baylan. He loves Baylan. Because he's kind of got a Baylan look to him. So I was like, we'll figure out how to get you a Baylan saber at some point.
Your dad would crush a Baylan cosplay. That would be sick.
I would love for him to do that. I'm gonna be Shin. I'm gonna get the bob and everything.
Do it. That would be iconic.
I don't know. I'll figure out what I do.
Do it.
Yes. So like. I behind me, like kind of off camera, I've got like a huge collection of Star Wars books as well, and like those were from my dad and everything. And so anyway, so that was technically I think the first inkling. Now the first time, I don't know the first time I actually saw Star Wars, but I do remember that I was in the theaters for Attack of the Clones, and I was
okay. So 3.
I was about to say, it had to be have been 3, I think. Maybe not even. I remember, okay, that year, that was 2002? 2002? Yep. That time frame, there was 3 movies, and I can't remember which one. I think the first movie I ever saw in theaters was Return to Neverland, like Peter Pan Return to Neverland.
Yeah,
but
dude.
Also, I think, and I remember that movie, like, I was, you're having a little kid in a theater is like not always the greatest idea because their attention span is kind of all over the place. So I remember like, I think we left that movie early because I was like scared, but I went to the movies a lot because my dad's a big movie guy. My grandparents are big movie people. And so then I don't remember what was next, but it was either Attack of the Clones or it was Spider-Man. It says a lot about me because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan as well.
Yeah, just start listing your tattoos. It's literally on your body for all of those.
Yeah. So I do remember seeing Attack of the Clones. My first image of Star Wars was, I remember, I guess my parents couldn't keep me sat down in the chair. I remember running down the aisle of the movie theater and the gunships were flying in. I remember that is like, that's like the fuzzy, like that. I just remember like Yoda on the gunship flying in and I'm like running up like, and so for the longest time, Attack of the Clones was my favorite movie because I think that was like psychologically like burned into my brain. But then I did see, and of course I saw the originals and things like that, and I remember, I don't remember what other than that, like at home, the first movie that I saw, probably A New Hope, I would imagine. But then I fully remember at 5 years old watching Revenge of the Sith in theaters.
That's a heavy movie for a 5-year-old.
I loved it. I had a full, I even like Anakin getting burned. I was like, this is like, but I wasn't like distraught. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. You know, like as like a little kid. I remember my core memory of Revenge of the Sith. If I like, I think like I remember seeing Anakin burn, and I remember this is when Yoda walks into Palpatine's office underneath the Senate rotunda. And he uses the Force to fling the Imperial guards like up against the wall, and they fall over. There was a lady in my theater. I remember we were kind of like in the middle, kind of towards the back. There was like the side seats. There were like 2 or 3, like only just like right up, butted up to the side. And I remember there was a lady just like laughing at the top of her lungs, and I thought that was so funny. And so anytime I watched, when Revenge of the Sith came out earlier this year, re-released for the 20th. I was in the same theater that I saw it when I was 5. And as soon as that moment hit, I was just like, it like hit me like a That's So Raven like vision, you know, where I was like, oh my, like reverse. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I just remembered that. And I just started laughing to myself. Everybody's like, it's not that funny. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, it's kind of funny. So, yeah, but of course, like Will can echo this as well. Like, it was like the movies, and then it was the Lego games coming out. Like that was all just like just one beautiful mesh. I had like Lego Star Wars on the GBA, and then eventually I got a PS2, and I got Battlefront 2 and Lego Star Wars on that PS2. And I think, like, Will, you always say this, I don't want to like steal your thing, but you always say like there's so many times where you've used Star Wars scenes as like Lego cutscenes when you think back during the time.
That's my
same
memory Rolodex of like, if somebody was to ask me a Star Wars question, I would say probably 85% of the time I am thinking of the moments like when you fast forward Star Wars to like get to the moment that you're thinking of and what is happening, it's usually like playing through Lego Star Wars, the complete saga cutscenes of like, okay, and like just thinking of the funny moments, and then like, oh, okay, that's where we are. Yeah, it's Salacious B. Crumb. But like that's 100%. Like I'm a big Lego nerd. I actually, when I started making content, I started doing like specifically Star Wars Lego content.
So niche.
Like the whole, yes, it was too niche. The whole like other side of this wall that you can't see is all Lego stuff. I've got all my minifigures. When I think of like going back to when I saw Star Wars the first time, it was around that same time in 1999 that's when Star Wars started their collaboration with Lego, and they had the license and they launched all the Lego Star Wars sets. The first Star Wars anything that I had other than the actual physical VHS tapes was Luke's Land Speeder, the 1999 set, and it's over there. But like that is 100% like that. It's like the building blocks of the house of Star Wars. That is truly, and my parents didn't know what they had set me on the path for by going to Walmart and buying that. But yeah, that is, Lego is such a huge part of why I love Star Wars.
Right on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I was, I'm a little older than y'all. We put that together. But Lego, I will admit, Lego Star Wars is never something I've taken the dive on. I will.
The game?
Yeah, I never have. I know.
I cannot tell you how good it is. The complete saga is truly, outside of just being a Star Wars centered thing as a Star Wars fan, it is so funny. The gameplay is great. And truly, it is such a fun way to play through those games. There will never be a time while you are playing where you do not have a smile on your face. It is the best.
Okay.
It's the best.
Yeah. It is. I remember one of my other early memories is I remember Christmas morning getting that PS2 when I was like 6 or 7 maybe, and getting that like those 4 games, which was Lego Star Wars, the prequels, the very first Lego Star Wars, Battlefront 2, Thrillville, which was also a LucasArts game, which I think David Collins actually worked on Thrillville, which was funny when he mentioned that when he talked to him, which is crazy. Was it one more Star Wars game or was it a Spider-Man game? It was Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. So there was one Marvel game in there. Anyway, I remember I started with Lego. Did you just get like hit with a nostalgia wave, Will?
I just thought of like flipping through the costumes of the like in the lobby when they're all standing up in the character selector.
And Nick Fury's like crazy. Human Torch, Daredevil. Yeah. Anyway, that's Marvel. I remember starting with Lego Star Wars because I had played Battlefront 2 on our home PC. My dad had that, but he got me the PS2 version because I had a PS2. So, but I started with Lego Star Wars, and I remember just starting on Phantom Menace, right? And I remember finishing it was the very first gag that I think happens in the game is when the I'm blanking on what kind of, it's like the consular class ship that it explodes, right? In the beginning of Phantom Menace when they get set up on the fate. And so, of course, in the scene, it's like this high octane action sequence. Well, it explodes in the game, but like the two pilots are just like sitting there floating in the air like Looney Tunes characters, and they look at each other, and then they look, and then they just like fall down and it like explode into bricks. And I remember my dad like watching me play it and being like just laughing, being like, "That's pretty funny," you know. So like, there's so many gags like that, you know. It's just, cool. and it's also such a great co-op game too. Like to like hop in with a buddy, like so many siblings I think just grew up on Lego Star Wars, you know. Mm-hmm. It's great. It's honestly, I think the complete saga is a timeless game.
It's the best Star Wars game of all time.
Well,
it's the best Star Wars game of all time.
It's like top 3.
It's the number 1 game. I apologize. It's the number 1 game. It's not even a hot take. It's the best.
Will just hasn't played enough Star Wars games is the problem.
No, I've played them all. It's just that's the one where I was always like, man, it's not Lego Star Wars.
So it's better than Force Unleashed?
In my rankings, yes.
Right on.
Weirdly enough, it's better for like in terms of a package in a game. I think it's better than Force Unleashed.
I love the Force Unleashed, but Lego Star Wars it's a tier of its own. It's my favorite video game of all time.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, well, so y'all have sold me. I'll give it a go. That means it's on my to play list now. A little bit about me. I still haven't played Jedi Survivor. So I am very, very.
Oh, that's Grayson's game. That's Grayson's game.
I'm far behind.
I'm very Cal Saber right there. Yeah, Survivor is. Honestly, I think Survivor makes the cut of top 5. I think it might be 5. There's so many Star Wars games, and especially that during that golden era. For me, if I had to make a ranking, number 1 is Jedi Academy. Academy is.
Yes.
Have you played? Jedi Academy?
That's my favorite one because it's just drop in.
Let's go.
Every level is an episodic adventure. I love
exactly.
It.
And you get the saber styles and you get the weapons and you're just leveling up as a Jedi and all across the galaxy. It's sick, dude. It's the best. Yeah. Still the best saber combat we've ever had in a video game, by the way. Yes. It's peak. That's my one. I do think, and I think it's up to an individual person, but I think 2 has to be. I would put classic Battlefront 2 at my 2. I think.
Sure.
I could see people saying, the modern Battlefront 2, but that's kind of. I'll put one of those. I'm not going to put both in the top 5. Then 3 is Lego Star Wars. I would say maybe. Oh no. Okay. Sorry. Number 2 is not Battlefront 2. I'm sorry. Number 2 is Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay.
That is and that could be the number 1 on a good day. 3 is Lego Star Wars. 4 is Battlefront 2. I would put Jedi Survivor at 5.
Bro, you are a fake fan. This is or Republic Commando on your list.
Republic Commando is probably 7. It's short. It's a short game. You said Dark Forces though?
I'm telling David Collins.
Oh my gosh, Dark Forces 2. Dark Forces is probably like a strong 9.
Dark Forces like the original Dark Forces or Dark Forces Jedi Knight?
See, I prefer Dark Forces Jedi Knight, but Dark Forces as a shooter because I played through the remaster this year because it's so hard to get running on a modern PC these days. Man, I'm hoping they make a remake of Mysteries of the Sith, which is the Mara Jade DLC. Yeah.
Those were my games going back. Dark Forces 2. I mean, I was like 8 or whatever. I don't know.
You
But
gotta look like Kyle Katarn, man.
Hey, I'll be a short Kyle Katarn cosplay one day. But thanks. I've never heard that before. But I remember I would just watch. Yeah, never heard that before. But I guess that makes sense.
Well,
yeah. I would watch all of the cutscenes just on repeat. I would skip just to get the next cutscene. I thought at the time, it's funny now, I thought that was the closest we'd get to episode 7. But
I think a lot of people did. I mean, it was those cutscenes with those, real-time actors. It had never been done before.
Yeah, I'm saying. But Will, real quick, your rebuttal, top 5 Star Wars games.
Oh boy. Lego Star Wars TCS, the complete saga. Number 2 would probably have to be Force Unleashed. Number 3, probably the Revenge of the Sith game.
That's good. That's good.
Number 4, Grayson, you're gonna laugh at this. I love Masters of Terrascasi.
That's crazy.
I love that game.
You know that game is so busted, dude.
Dude, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. I used to play that at my buddy's house all the time, and we would spend hours. That's honestly most of where my fandom comes from, is like those co-op games of like watching the movie and then playing as the characters and then learning what the characters are doing and then do that with your action figures and with your Lego minifigures in the garage. Like that was the pipeline of the George Lucas indoctrination of why I bought so much merchandise. Like that is 100% the pipeline. So Terrascasi, I had Terrascasi at 4. And you're gonna
insane.
You guys are gonna think this is crazy. I'm gonna put Lego Star Wars: The Clone Wars at number 5.
That's a good take. That's a good take.
That game is fun, dude.
Cool.
Game is
fun.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. Keep in mind, Will's never played Knights of the Old Republic, so
yeah, I never did. I never did.
Hold on, you've never played KOTOR?
No, never have.
Well,
never have.
Sorry. So first, I have to say, Masters of Terrascasi is crazy.
It's fun.
I remember sitting in the theater for Solo, and when they name dropped Terrascasi, I literally was like, I thought I was the only person that remembered that game existed.
Yeah.
But you've never played KOTOR?
No. The old head game that I was playing was Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, yeah, that's good. There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which is there's such a deep love for Shadows of the Empire in my heart. As much as I realize, much like Masters of Terrascasi, it is that game is bonkers to play through. So yeah.
I was playing through the PC version last year, and I got to like the Boba Fett boss fight, and I was like, "F this, man!" I was like, "I'm not playing this anymore."
Yeah,
because it's so like you're like having to like point and then be like, the
parts in the gameplay when in the dev where where the top of the person's body as you're playing at will move differently than the bottom of their legs, where like they can basically turn around like they're on
it's
a
like
swivel
two
chair.
Different planes of existence. Yeah. That's
it's
ridiculous.
So much fun.
That was mid-90s were a different time.
Yep.
But well, and hot take, so that you're not the only one that's going to get attacked for this. I think KOTOR hasn't aged very well.
Listen.
Hey, I've never played it, so hey, I agree with you, and I'll back you up on it.
The story's so fun, but it's the turn-based combat system.
Yeah.
It just takes me completely out of it every time. I was so hopeful we were going to get a remake, and then it looks like that has died.
It is so up in the air that I feel like every other week they're like it's not in development, and then someone will come out being like, guys, it's still in development. So I hope so. For me, so this needs to be a button on our show at this point. I'm such a tabletop RPG guy when it comes to I'm a I play D&D, I play Pathfinder.
Awesome.
And I've got all of the can I tilt my chair? Okay, yeah. Right there. Those books right there are the Star Wars RPG books. Those came out within the past like 10, 15 years, a little less than. Such a good game, such a good set of rule sets. That's what I'll say. Like when it comes to tabletop games, it's my favorite that I've ever played. My favorite system that I've ever played. And so when I played Coach War for the first time, I was like, I played it when I was younger, but I sucked at it because I was a stupid little kid. And then I came back when I was like 12 or 13, and I was like, oh, I get it now. I didn't fully understand all the rules, but I understood enough to like leveling up my skills in combat and everything. And so I finally I beat it when I was like 13, I think, and I loved it. That being said, the turn base is a little rough. Now that I am into the tabletop space, I kind of like, if I view it more like that, I can get into it. But when you compare it to like a modern RPG, especially with like BioWare having made like Mass Effect and stuff, which like the combat isn't necessarily like that, it doesn't age gracefully, that's for certain. But it is still like, I think, the most jam-packed, well-rounded Star Wars experience one can have, in my opinion.
Right on. Yeah, I gotta say, you got me with the tabletop RPG things. I discovered what tabletop RPGs are from the Sam Witwer stream years ago of him GMing the cast of Star Wars Rebels.
Yep,
using that Fantasy Flight system.
That's that right there.
Yes.
Yeah,
it got me into it, and I've been running a game with friends for the last like 7 years.
Using that system?
It's the same game.
Let's go! You're the first person I've met who actually in the community played. Oh my gosh.
I love it. It's my favorite thing. I remember watching that stream going, oh, that's what role-playing games are?
Yeah.
And I'm a theater guy, so I was like, I'm the stupidest person ever. It's literally collaborative storytelling in Star Wars. So we've done crazy stuff. We've killed Palpatine. We've done all kinds of nonsense.
That's crazy. See, I'm too much of a canon, keeping it in the by the books thing. So like what the Dawn of Rebellion book has a foreword by Dave Filoni, and he talks about, he's like, oh, don't get the ghost exploded. And I'm like, personally, I am someone who cares way too much about the pre-established lore that I will go out of my, I try, when I did the one campaign, I did like an 11 session campaign. It was great. I loved it. I kept it pretty minor when it came to, I don't think actually I included any notable characters other than Dok-Ondar from Galaxy's Edge. And Will's heard me tell this story so many times. He's going to be like, oh, brother, here he goes again. I got the blessing from Timothy Zahn to include Mara Jade. So I
Wait a minute. Sorry, I've got to pause. Sorry, Will, we're going into the deep end for a second. We'll be back.
No, it's fine. I was there. I'm gonna say, I want you to know that this recording is gonna be another 2 hours since we got. RPG book,
well, but just we got 7 other questions to get through. But so,
oh gosh,
you got Timothy Zahn to weigh in on your role playing game.
So I had just started the campaign, and I had this idea of I definitely, the influence of my campaign was very much Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I wanted it to be about this kind of like group of mercenary bounty hunter types, like trying to find this treasure on behalf of Dok-Ondar, because I love Galaxy's Edge. It was easy to craft around that. Anyway, I was about halfway through the campaign at that point. And I had this idea. I was reading through the Thrawn trilogy at that time, and I am such a Mara Jade fan. And I was like, man, Zahn, we were at this convention, and Zahn was signing books, and I brought like 1 billion books for him to sign because I started collecting like all of this stuff. And I went up and I was like, I whispered to Will, I was like, what if I got his opinion on what this idea that I have, right? And he was like, yeah, I don't remember what Will said, or maybe it was even one of our other friends, but they were like, go for it, dude. Timothy Zahn is the nicest guy in the world, especially when you ask him about Star Wars lore. That is what gets his gears whirring. He will, as soon as you ask him a Star Wars lore question, he will immediately engage in the conversation, and that is cool. It's great because he's such a big fan. And so I was like, hey, I've got this idea. Basically, in the campaign, they were seeking out this ancient lightsaber that I had dubbed the Starblade, rumored to be one of the very first lightsabers that ever created. And the through line was that it was actually the lightsaber was rumored to be at the Valley of the Jedi. Shout out Dark Forces 2 and Jedi Outcast. Cool. And I was like,
big fan. You had it at 8 or 9 on your list.
Oh my gosh! But I Jedi Academy at 1. I won. Okay. And so I was like, I think I named it actually the Valley of the Jedi because I wanted it to be a little bit different, and you take inspiration from the original a Dawn of the Jedi book and stuff. And so anyway, so eventually there was going to be a point where they get to the Valley of the Jedi, but in my mind, I was like, see, Palpatine is going to want that, right? Because the Valley of the Jedi is this uber important place. If the rumors are true, it could help him achieve immortality. And I'm keeping this all within the confines of canon. And so anyway, I mentioned this idea to him. I was like, listen, they're looking for this lightsaber. It could lead them to this kind of wellspring of force energy. I'm like, I kind of want to include Mara Jade. What do you think? And he was like, well, she's obviously the Emperor's hand. She's really dealing with high profile targets. But Palpatine, if it was a really big importance to him, I definitely could see him sending her to go after it or trying to figure out how to get to it. And I was like, what if I basically pitched to him, I was like, okay, well, if I used her to try to interrogate them, basically to try to figure out the location of this, would that work? And he was like, I think that would work. And I was like, and he was like, so just let me, but he's like, but let me be clear here. If they get into a fight, if they get into a fist fight, they are going to die or they're going to be beaten. And I was like, I got you, bro. And so I was like, that's why I was very careful and meticulous about how I wanted to include her in the story. I didn't want it to be too heavy handed. I didn't want the players to know too much about her. So there's a part where they go to a Sith world and they get captured by dark troopers. It was this horrifying horror moment where they're these dark troopers appear out of the woods. And anyway, they get captured by these Imperials. And Mara Jade is is working on the Star Destroyer. She's not running it, but she's there, right? Because she's looking for this. And so there was a kind of a plot reason why she was there, but she ends up actually interrogating one of my players. I never said her name. I never said that she was the Emperor's hand. I just said that she was in a black combat suit with a jacket. She had a blaster and she had a vibro sword. I didn't want to give her a lightsaber because I was like, yeah, that'd be a little too obvious. And I played her like Mara Jade. And anyway, this whole thing happens. They're trying to get out of this ship. They get attacked by pirates because I'd been inspired at that point in time by Skeleton Crew. I was like, you know what? I was like, I need a reason for them to be able to get out of this ship. So in the chaos, I threw in pirates.
Sure.
Anyway, they're able to destroy the reactor core of the Star Destroyer during the chaos, get to their ship. And as they're getting to their ship, they see her booking it to a TIE interceptor. And so they take some pot shots at her and they missed, and they get in the ship we got to go. And so they're flying through the combat of the pirates attacking the Star Destroyer as it's collapsing from within as well. And so she is the lone, all of the other Imperials are trying to get out. She is aggressively trying to get to them because she knows if she loses them, she will not be able to find the location of this. Unfortunately, the ship that they were in was a way better equipped, and she did not have great luck. And so her ship got incapacitated, but it didn't get destroyed. So I kind of you remember the shot in Force Awakens when Poe and Finn, their TIE fighter, kind of gets hit and they're crashing towards Jakku?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
as it's tumbling down. That was kind of the visual. They're they hit it and it kind of disabled her ship, and she gets hit by a pirate and then she starts tumbling away. And they're that's the last of her. Well, they ended up going to the Valley of the Jedi, finding what they needed, and they ended up leaving. But then I had a post-credit scene as the credits rolled of the kind of like a Moff Gideon Mando situation with the TIE fighter that he crashed in, of it zooming out from this smoking crash site on the desert of Rusan, and her pulling up a data pad, and she had a tracker on their ship, and that's where the story ended. So anyway, That was the whole story there. But yes, Timothy Zahn gave me his blessing. So they never learned her name. She did get to use the Force on one of my players. She got to use influence and to get the information that she needed. It's very cool. Will is
you broke story for your Star Wars RPG campaign with Timothy Zahn. That's crazy. That's awesome. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
it was incredibly rewarding. I had taken so many inspirations from other things. I even had the Sith phantasm of the Stranger show up. They didn't know it was the Stranger, but I did the voice and everything, because they went to a Sith planet looking for what they needed. So I because so much was coming out last year, I was I want to include something like that in my campaign. So I read The Living Force by John Jackson Miller. They went to that planet. The Acolyte came out. I wanted the Stranger or some sort of Sith ghost in there. And then I was reading the Thrawn trilogy, and then Skeleton Crew came out. So I just included everything that was coming out, and it turned into an awesome story. But yeah, so I can always say that Timothy Zahn was hey, hey, you can use Mara Jade in your story. Just make it work. And I was like, I won't let you down, sir.
That's crazy. That's one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I could go on about RPGs forever. Shout out selling our own stuff. We've got 2 one-shots, actual plays on the channel. We played through the beginning game, Fantasy Flight Games beginning game with 2 of my buddies, and then we did an Order 66 one-shot.
Heck yes, dude.
Cool.
I use that same system, but I kind of go more rule of cool, narrative heavy, like, you know what I'm saying?
It's good because the books definitely pitch the idea of like, listen, these are rule sets in mind that we have this in here, but at the end of the day, it is a narrative system, so it allows for a lot of creative liberties. When you did the beginner game, did you do the Edge of the Empire or the Force and Destiny one?
The Edge of the Empire one, the first one that ever came out. So the Escape from Mos Shuta.
Mos Shuta, yep.
Yeah, the most uncreative name for a city ever. Mos Shuta. But awesome.
It works.
Well, that was a fantastic tangent. I loved all of that.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I hope people enjoyed it because they're just like, these nerds out here, man.
Nerds about their tabletop role-playing games. But Will, going back to you for question number 2. If you had to pick
I gotta dial it in.
If you had to pick one out of all the heroes in Star Wars, who's your favorite hero?
Yeah, somebody else flipped a coin between Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker, because those are my 2.
Yeah,
it's not even like they're so above everybody else for me in terms of those characters, and I am never able to decide between the 2. Grayson had me on when he was having the Mortis FM podcast, and we were doing a list of like determining which was the most true Jedi. If you had to pick a Jedi and the definition was true Jedi, we did a top 5 ranking, and I went on a pretty long tear about why it should be Ahsoka. And then probably 2 minutes after me doing this whole as a theater kid myself, this whole big just punch out, crash out of why Ahsoka is the best. Then like 2 minutes later, I was like, well, actually, maybe it is Luke Skywalker. So I truly, I truly can never decide. I have a tattoo of both. I have a Luke Skywalker tattoo and I have a Ahsoka themed tattoo. So like, throw a rock and pick one, and those are my 2. If that's a cop out, I apologize, but I truly cannot pick one.
That's not a cop out. You're invoking the rule of 2. That totally flies.
That
like flies. It. Yeah,
I like
but Grayson, same question. Who's your favorite Star Wars hero?
Yeah, I can't. I as much as I would love to divide it into 2 and say I was torn, it is absolutely Kanan Jarrus. That is Caleb
cool.
Doom. He is my favorite character in all of Star Wars. That character took me by it just engulfed me, man. I don't know what it was. I've talked about it at links before, but basically, like, I remember seeing that very first kind of preview breakdown. Like, it was a lot of the creators talking about Rebels and Dave Filoni being like, oh, I call Kanan the Cowboy Jedi. And I was like, that's sick. I was like, a Cowboy Jedi. And as someone, growing up with Kyle Katarn, right? He had the pistol and the lightsaber. I was like, oh, this guy's kind of like Kyle Katarn. But then they took it in a much more interesting direction of, making him a Padawan on the run, and then eventually having to embrace being a master, and also, to someone not knowing how to train him, and then blinding him and making him this almost like pseudo samurai. And I mean, when you talk about the pantheon of true Jedi, Kanan, I think, is very close to making the cut. He could be a 5 on a good day, but I think, I mean, that character is I always describe it. He is lightning in a bottle. I think he is a perfect trajectory. And people ask me, they're like, oh, would you like to see Kanan again? And I'm like, I don't need it. Like, I really would I love to see his Force Ghost or something talking to his son? Absolutely. But do I need it? Do I need Kanan's story to be continued? And no, I don't. I think Rebels, those 4 seasons, just hit it off. My hot take is that Ahsoka and Kanan are the 2 greatest characters that Dave Filoni has ever made.
That's not a hot take, dude.
I don't even think it's a hot take, dog.
I feel like people would say I think people would say Rex over Kanan.
I mean, no
Rex
shade.
is my 3.
Yeah. no shade on Rex, but there's something special about Kanan and Ahsoka. I think everybody would agree.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would love to see him show up on Ahsoka season 2. But moving on. So the next one. So we've gotten the light side. Not that this is how balancing the Force works, but to keep this interview balanced, we'll stick with Grayson first. Who's your favorite Star Wars villain?
That's tougher. I think this is closer to where it like changes on the day. Oh, never mind. It doesn't change at all. Actually, it does flip flop. I'm going to say either Maul or the Stranger from the Acolyte. I love Jedi, but I also love Sith. I love when you have a really good Sith. Maul is different because so much of his story is not being a Sith or like being cast out. And while we don't know what the Stranger or Chimere where his true allegiances lie, I mean, from the mask to the fighting style, for me, it just it ticks all the boxes. So it's one day it could be Stranger, one day it could be Maul.
Ooh.
It'll be like, never mind, Maul.
You were gone. You back?
He's back now.
Okay, he's back. You blacked out for a second, and then all we heard was "Never mind, Maul." So,
I mean, that's pretty much what I said. Is when Maul Shadow War comes out.
Yeah, we're all hyped for that. When Whitworth started not spoiling it, but it seemed like he was saying maybe more than Matt Wood thought he was going to say at Rebel Scum Con. I was like, he confirmed there's an apprentice, which we all kind of knew. But anyway, Will, same question. If who's your favorite Star Wars villain?
Darth Maul, Maul himself, Maul, formerly Darth, now just Maul.
There you go.
I think he is truly one of the best written characters in any IP. I mean, the tragedy of his story is so. This might be awful to say, so much fun to watch and so entertaining. Anytime he is on screen, he is one of those villains who, no matter what he is going to do, and even if he kills your favorite character, you're always like, that's just Maul though. Like he's truly like, if anybody had to do it and dice up anyone, I mean, the podcast that we run is literally based on a Qui-Gon Jinn quote, and Maul destroys him. So like there's truly no better villain for me than Maul when it comes to Star Wars. There are a lot of other villains that I like. I will always say, and you've got a question later on that I'll bring up a villain that I think is incredible. But yeah, it's Maul for me.
Yep.
Right on. Okay. So hard tangent for this next one.
Ooh.
But we'll go with Will first. Who's your favorite random alien or background character? Who's your favorite glup shitto, as the internet likes to say?
Well, so what I was teeing up with the last answer, he is not a glup shitto at all. However, I believe, and I will never not say, he is the most underrated character in Star Wars. But Cad Bane is my number 2 for villains. Like, truly the most underrated character in all of Star Wars. There's nobody else who is as cool. Like, you want to talk about the rule of cool? It's Cad Bane. That's literally all he is. However, if I was to pick just a random alien, our buddy Colin would say Max Rebo.
Oh my goodness, yes, he would.
I don't know. There's so many fun ones. Like, I love Rancors. I think Rancors are great, but like that's not really a character. Like, they don't really talk or say anything. Gosh, there's so many fun ones. Like, you could pick any clone that like has a one-liner. Oh, here we go. Okay, since I thought of clones, Doom from the Clone Wars, because I am a Dr. Doom fan.
Oh
yeah, Commander Doom.
Just like he's got like a green and gold get up. He's
literally just the Dr. Doom variant of a clone trooper in Clone Wars. He is on screen for one episode for maybe 30 seconds total runtime, but his whole getup is phase 2 helmet with like green and yellow markings on it, and he's got the Doctor Doom like green skirt, I forget
Here's
what the skirt is called, but like that's him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yep, Commander Doom.
Yeah.
He's
Hilarious.
that could be my favorite because I am a big Doctor Doom fan. So
I think that
Right
definitely falls in that umbrella. Yeah.
yeah.
Right on. Good pull. Grayson, same question. Favorite random alien background character, you know.
I think this one's always kind of stayed true. It's kind of, there's some that fluctuate, but I really like if y'all know, I think y'all know him. Sidon Ithano from The Force Awakens. He is the red guy with like the Crimson Corsair. He has the coolest backstory. And if we're talking about, we had Marty on our show yesterday at the time of recording this. That's a pretty cool pirate right there. That's a pretty cool pirate. Especially because connecting to clones, there is a short story where he finds Kix frozen on Dooku's treasure ship like years after, like in the sequel era. And I'm like, dude, he's got a clone trooper on his pirate gang. Heck yeah,
that's cool. Sidon Ithano. That's a nice Crimson Corsair.
Yeah,
is his like pirate name. Cool.
Yep.
All right, I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So different question. I think y'all ask this one too, but you know, there's only so many Star Wars interview questions you can have. But I didn't steal it from you, is what I'm saying. But so we'll go with Grayson first. If lightsabers were real and you could have one, what color would your lightsaber be?
See, I'm a huge lightsaber guy, and this is a constant dilemma that I have. It's interesting because, and I think this will probably be my gut instinct, I'm gonna say green. It's weird because I think blue is normally my preferred color in most characters I like. But my very first lightsaber that I ever had was the telescopic Obi-Wan Kenobi Phantom Menace one. Or maybe Attack of the Clones, probably more Attack of the Clones. But it had a green blade. And in my head, because Obi-Wan's, eventually his lightsaber looks a lot like Luke, my dad was always like, oh, it's like Luke's, because I liked Lucas a lot as a kid. And Luke is still one of my favorite heroes. I second that with Will. And so I always loved that. But then as I got older, I really liked blue because of Anakin's lightsaber, and of course, even Kyle Katarn, like when playing Jedi Outcast as a kid, I was like, the blue is sick. But lately, as I've gotten kind of older, and I've been like, just in the past couple years, when Ahsoka came out and Sabine had Ezra's green lightsaber, there was just something about that resonated with me, where I'm like, dude, green is a goated color, man. I'm like, it's like, and it was weird. I think the reason it clicked in my brain is because I thought about it. And at the time of Ahsoka, there had not been a live action project there had only been one other live action project that had, well, I guess that's not true. But green lightsabers were not prominent in the sequels. You literally only get one in the flashback sequences with Luke, and you never see him again. Other than that, it's just blue and red. And then you get the Mando season 2 scene, which is also, I mean, it's great, but it's brief, but it was Luke's back to back. So when we got to Sabine and that was coming out and I was starting to collect lightsabers more, I was like, the ways her sounded and the fact that like she had the poncho, she had the blaster, she's like roaming around in Peridia. The visual of just someone having like a lightsaber on their belt, and when she pulls it out and she's got like the kind of classic, you know, Jedi stance of a two-hand grip or whatever, and I love that saber in general. I was like, dude, green is great, and that's kind of stuck with me the past couple of years. So I'm gonna say green.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so Will, same question.
It's
So
not
green.
even close. It's not even close. The only thing, look, if it was real world, my favorite color is yellow, so like a yellow saber would be cool. There's nothing cooler than a green lightsaber. Literally every character that I love in Star Wars, when it comes to Jedi, at one time or another is using a green lightsaber. Like Luke Skywalker, Qui-Gon Jinn, Yoda, Ezra's V2. Like there are so many characters that are so cool because of their green lightsaber. Dude, Kit Fisto, when he ignites his lightsaber underwater in Gendy's Clone Wars, like the green lightsaber it was the first lightsaber I had from kid, telescopic lightsaber.
Yep.
So it's always green. I would like to think that I could aesthetically pick yellow, but I would be, maybe it's basic, but it's always green.
Yeah. Another another little expansion on from our video game question earlier was I think the very first lightsaber color I chose in Jedi Academy when I played that game, because you get to like you only get the single blade, but you got to go through the hilt and got to choose like from the main colors, which I think was blue, green, yellow, orange. I don't know if white was one of them. Maybe white wasn't one of them. It doesn't matter. I think either way, purple was one, maybe pink as well. I remember just choosing green. I was like, I don't know, green, like and so from every playthrough of Jedi Academy, whether I start with it or whether I get it later on, I always rock a green lightsaber at some point or another.
If I had to pick a close third outside of green and yellow, Shin and Balin's sabers from Ahsoka with the orange center, like the old sabers, is like that is so cool. So like, if I had to pick like a specific that, but then I'm also like, does real world apply? Where like, am I a bad guy if I have a red lightsaber? So like, then I'm not a bad guy. So like, it's that thing. But yeah, green for sure.
Right on. Okay, so we'll go with Will first on this one. This is people sometimes have a hard time answering this question, but it can mean whatever you want it to mean. But what is your favorite Star Wars story?
Ooh.
So if I had to pick a character who character specifically has my favorite story in Star Wars, 1000% Ahsoka Tano.
Like, you're going to say that.
Not even close.
Right on.
Her story in Star Wars from front to back, especially with what we got in Ahsoka, especially from like down to Dave Filoni concept doodles that he's just drawing on a napkin and posting 10 years ago of like, oh, she might be doing this. Like, just the coolest, captivating story in all of Star Wars. I think currently, if you were to pick someone who is the face of Star Wars, it would be Ahsoka Tano. But then if I had to pick like an arc or a story specifically, like I love Return of the Jedi and like Luke being able to bring his father back. Like maybe that's it. But then I'm also like, Clone Wars season 7 is such a fun, like those 4 episodes at the end are like, that's such a good, like from open to close, that story. So like, I gave you some other answers, but like if I had to pick just a character who has my favorite story in Star Wars, it's Ahsoka.
Right on. Yeah. Right on.
If I had answer for Will, like in terms of like a project, I definitely would have been like, okay, it's either Siege of Mandalore, it's either those 4 episodes, or it's Return of the Jedi. And you said both of those pretty much. So because Clone Wars is kind of like a catch-all where you're like, if someone would just say like, that's why, okay, for my answer, I'm like, it's tough because like I could just say Rebels, but there's so many, like Rebels is such a, it's kind of multiple stories in one. That's kind of the TV show gag, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like you kind of have to break it up in either like a season or like an arc. So for me, it flips, I guess, between okay, for me, it flips between 2, kind of in the same vein of Will. It's either the Twilight of the Apprentice arc.
Oh, I didn't
in
even
Rebels.
think of that.
I'm shocked. I figured that would be your 3 at least.
Oh well, okay, so that counts for Ahsoka's character story.
Sure,
yes, it does.
I'll say it's in there.
For me, I'm saying Twilight of the Apprentice. Those 2 episodes, and even like the episode before that, like when they go to the temple on Lothal, because it includes pretty much all of my favorite characters in Star Wars, other than like Luke and Han Solo not being there, because it's got Kanan, it's got Maul coming back, it's got Vader, it's got Ahsoka, it's got Inquisitors, it's on a cool Sith planet, it's got Ezra. It's like that. Those 2 to 3 episodes, even though I know Twilight of the Princess is 2 episodes technically, is firing on all cylinders. So that is probably one. The other, and I think I lean more towards this one, but truly it goes back and forth because they're both so good, and they kind of echo each other in a similar way of like being the middle part of the story. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite, not only my favorite Star Wars movie, but my favorite movie of all time. And it's like weird. It's like there's more like The Empire Strikes Back than it being like just my favorite. I'll say Empire. If I had to choose a very specific scene in it, it would be the cave scene on Dagobah, which is my favorite scene in all of Star Wars. But
right on.
yeah, I'll say Empire Strikes Back, but some days it's Twilight of the Apprentice.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so we got a kind of one more question in kind of the basic interview. I'll go to Grayson first on this one. This is another hard question, but this is just getting down to kind of the heart of the matter. What does Star Wars mean to you?
See, this is also interesting because I've been asked this before, and my answer always changes.
Yeah.
Like there's always more to unfurl with the question. So I won't drag on too much with it, I guess. For me, like it is I think been the crux of so many relationships and friendships and moments of my life. Like I can look back on my life and almost like synchronize where Star Wars was in my life. And like I think the moments where Star Wars was closest, it was at some of the best moments in my life. I would say I'm going through one right now, right? Where I'm like, Star Wars has been a constant these past 2 years, and it has been great. And the times where it was not so close, like when I was like in middle school and kind of was going through like a more, like I was like, Star Wars isn't that cool anymore or whatever, even though I still like Star Wars. It wasn't as great. But I mean, it's brought me so many relationships. It's brought me so many connections, community. Like I mentioned, my dad is him and I, we constantly bond over Star Wars. So, I mean, like I said this, there was somebody else that asked me this, and I think like the simplest way to put it is it means everything to me. Like it is, people ask me, they're like, oh, do you like Spider-Man or Star Wars more? And I'm like, Spider-Man I like as a character more, but Star Wars I like as like an overall thing more, like when someone asks me like, what kind of hobbies do you have? And I go, Star Wars, and it's like, they're like, that's not a yes, it is. It's a hobby. But it's also, it's such a huge passion of mine. So, yeah, I mean, it means everything to me. And at the end of the day, there can be so many naysayers in Star Wars. The community can be very volatile. The past couple months have been where I'm like, you know what, dude, screw that noise. I was like, the Star Wars community is awesome, and I'm forever grateful for it. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic answer. Will, same question.
So Star Wars is truly, to use a Star Wars quote as to why I think Star Wars is the best, and do a play on it. The greatest teacher failure is, the greatest teacher Star Wars is. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people who like write books and they go, everything I learned from. Truly, I can say that so much with Star Wars, and it's not even just from the lessons that are taught through the movies. It's how to interact with others. It's playing a video game with one of my buddies when I'm 11 or 10 years old and just being able to share correctly. It's collecting and understanding the benefit of when you have something that you want and working towards it, of me mowing lawns to be able to buy Star Wars action figures and Lego sets. It's truly from the lessons you learn in Star Wars to everything that comes from the merchandising, because Star Wars is so vast outside of just the movies, and then adding the TV shows, and then radio dramas and video games and what's canon and the EU. And like, you can look at Star Wars like that, but if you're just looking at the logo, what it all means is truly, like Grayson said, everything in my life points back to something I had with Star Wars. Whether it's friends, the best friends I have are because of something Star Wars related, and it's my favorite memories. And honestly, it's the moral North Star for me when it comes to what I need to do in my adult life, which might not be a very adult thing to say when I say that Star Wars, a thing that George Lucas made for kids, is my North Star. But truly, when it comes down to it, I mean, the podcast is named Determined Focus, and we talked about at the beginning of like, your focus determines your reality. the lessons that you learn from the characters and the interactions in Star Wars are there's a reason why Star Wars is the modern mythology of our time, and we say all the time on our podcast when we talk about it, it truly is a genre of its own. There's so much in Star Wars that you can literally find anything, and there's always more to learn. So the greatest teacher Star Wars is.
Yeah.
Those are two great answers. So congrats. Those might be my two favorite we ever had.
Oh,
but
cool.
you. It's just to bounce off the last things that both of y'all said. As a grown man, every now and then I'm like, is it weird that I spend so much time thinking about Star Wars and talking about Star Wars and whatever else? And then I remember, no, because fear is the path to the dark side is
correct.
Such a fundamental thing to understand as a human being. And then I think it was last year when The Living Force came out that one of you mentioned earlier, I think it was Grayson, and he was the first person, at least I know of, to provide the proactive version of that quote.
Yep.
Courage is the path to peace.
Correct.
Those two ideas, if nothing else, if you don't get that down as a person, your life will be worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when people are like, why are you into Star Wars? I mean, in many ways, the answer is because I discovered it when I was too young to remember anything else. And I like lightsabers and music and, pew pew and stuff. But when you also have that much philosophy while also being that hopeful, it can lead to conversations like this with cool people and growing this community. And Grayson, like you said, the Star Wars fandom can be very toxic. But then you go to something like Rebel Scum Con, and it was one of the more positive experiences I've ever had in any group of people.
Mm-hmm. It
was awesome.
Yeah.
But right on. So I do have one other question before we descend into nonsense games.
Perfect.
I know that y'all are big Ahsoka fans, both of you. So what is it? Fan expectations are weird, but what do you want out of Ahsoka season 2?
Oh boy.
I know.
Will, do you need time to think? Because I can give a very simple answer.
Yeah, go ahead, because this is going to take me a long time.
I want the simple things that I want is I want more Balin Skull, I want more Huang, and I want more connections to Mortis. And it seems like we're going to get all three of those things, and for that I am happy.
But while Will's teeing up his answer, it's not the only thing I want, but I mean, guys, if we're going to Mortis, let's just, just complete ridiculous ask of the universe. Let's get Sam Witwer playing the Sun in live action.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a slam dunk.
It's a very easy and we talk about hot takes. That is not a hot take at all. That is a cold take, because it is truly what, if there was to be the Sun, it would be strange to not have him. But I think that's more of a fan thing than it is anything else. Yeah. And also as just people who are huge fans of Sam Witwer, it's just like the more he gets to do in Star Wars, the better, personally. What I want to see from Ahsoka, I think the reason why I love Ahsoka and the stories that surround the character so much are because of the connections and the relationships she has with other characters. So I love Ahsoka season 1. It is my favorite Star Wars Disney Plus project. Love it. The poster is, you can't see it, so it's right there on the other side of the wall. For season 1. But like, the relationship she has with Anakin, the relationship she has with Ezra, the relationship she has with Sabine, with Huyang, with Balin, with Shin, like seeing the way that those characters interact and how there are never any minced words. Everything is truly what needs to be said in those moments. And lovely enough, Dave Filoni knows how to do all of that so well, and Ahsoka is truly his baby. So what do I want to see? I just want Dave Filoni to have no railings and do whatever he wants with that show. And I hope there is no involvement from anybody else other than people who truly want to see that show shine, which I'm sure that's exactly how it is, because that's how Lucasfilm and Star Wars projects are. So what do I want to see from it? I want to see it tomorrow. That's what I want to see from it. I want to see it sooner.
Awesome.
Great. Yeah.
Awesome. Let Filoni cook. They will, but
Facts.
I have. There's no doubt in my mind. I have been looking at Ahsoka concept art since him drawing Ahsoka riding wolves when Rebels was coming out, which was 10 years ago at this point, on Facebook. I've been looking at those images for a decade now. I just cannot wait to see more of those made into live action.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%. All right. Well, okay. So we have finished the interview, and now it's time to descend into nonsense.
Cool.
So I sent this to you. The ridiculous Rathtar random hard trivia question. The idea is that it's stupid. It is a very granular, stupid, crazy question to where if you get it, congrats, super nerds, which I know y'all are. And if you don't get it, you also won because it just means you have a life. Now, this one, this might be too easy for y'all, but you know, Star Wars fandom, it there's levels, right?
Yeah.
But so as you know, David Collins and Sam Witwer voiced stormtroopers in several Disney projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are they talking about in Rogue One and Force Awakens? I think you've got it, but
it depends on the movie because it depends on the model. Oh, in Rogue One, is that the 16s or the 15s are down? We walk from here. That's Rogue One.
That's the T-15s. Then Force Awakens.
It would be the 17s.
No, 17 is in A New Hope, right?
No, 16s are New Hope.
Oh, 16s are New Hope.
We've got the video of the Force Unleashed panel up on the channel, and I YouTube autoplayed to my own stuff for the first time in a while yesterday, and I was like, wait, I'm going to ask him this question. Did he just name drop it at the beginning of the panel? Whatever.
I did.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all knew. So I got another one teed up.
Okay.
Now this is random. This is Deep Cut Legends. And so, but you know, congratulations. You have proved Star Wars nerd cards kept, right?
Sick.
Woo!
But so the Darksaber, the Mandalorian Darksaber, there is another Darksaber thing in Star Wars Legends. Grayson is nodding. Do you know what it is?
Super weapon, right?
Yeah.
It's isn't it like, is it the one that generates like the mass black hole or whatever? I went through the whole thing because there's the Sun Crusher and there's the Darksaber, and Sun Crusher's from the Jedi Academy trilogy. But I haven't read it, but I have Darksaber over here. So I know I watched an entire lore video during a very boring shift at work where we were going through all of the super weapons, whether canon or legends, and seeing how big they were, and I'm like, bro, they went bonkers on Legends with these. So you have to forgive me. I don't know specifically what the Darksaber does, but I know it is some sort of like super weapon that I feel like it creates like a giant black hole, but that's the best I got.
No forgiveness necessary. This is an insane deep cut. It's from the novel Darksaber, Kevin J. Anderson from like 96 or 97. Mm-hmm. It's a while after Return of the Jedi, and a Hutt commissions the guy that designed the Death Star in Legends to create a Death Star weapon, but it's like just the super laser. So it looks like a lightsaber flying in space, and they called it the Darksaber.
It looks, yes, I remember I saw this in a video. It looks so stupid. It's just like this tiny little thing. It's like a gun.
Yes, it's commonly referred to as one of the worst Star Wars novels. I think it was the first one I ever read when I was like 10.
That's great.
Yeah. And at the time, I loved it, and I tried to revisit it a couple years ago, and it's not awesome. But okay, so I know y'all do these as well, but we're gonna move into blind ranking. Okay,
yes.
And I'm gonna go wheelhouse for y'all. So I'm gonna go Clone Wars arcs. Okay. And I am and y'all know how blind rankings work. But okay, and I'm actually really happy that this is the first one that I had teed up from what we said.
Are we working together on this, or is this separate?
I figure y'all would work together, unless you want to.
Oh gosh.
we think similarly. It's fine, dude.
I think it'll be funny if we're working together.
I would be shocked if there's not one thing where Grayson and I can talk for 45 minutes about why it's not that or why it is that. So we'll see.
So
there's also so many arcs.
Well,
yeah. Well, there's only 5 we're gonna worry about right now. But yeah, you have no idea what's coming. So okay, I'm happy you had this one teed up first from what we said earlier, because I know where this is gonna go. The Siege of Mandalore.
There's one. That's one.
That one's easy. That one's easy.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So not one of them. Not one of the most popular arcs, but one that I love. I think it's so fun. The Rako Hardeen arc.
Oh, that's so fun!
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Will, that's in my mind, that's like a 3.
I would say either 3 or 4 because we don't know
Yeah.
what else is coming. Maybe 3 is the safe place to put that as two people who run blind rankings every
I'm
day.
trying to think what I put above that arc.
There is one that I know would be above it for both of us in
What's
terms
that?
of Clone Wars. One being your literal username.
That's that was the one that I was thinking of. Yeah.
So that's why I'm like,
oh, but there's also the wrong
man.
Jedi arc with
Yeah,
Ahsoka.
I know. So maybe
I'd say 4.
okay. Wait, no, because he might try and play us on this. So maybe
That's
3.
true. 3. Okay, let's average it
I'm
up.
okay with it at 3.
Okay. The Rako Hardeen at 3. All right, coming up next, the D Squad.
I like that arc. Is that including is D Squad basically like their training arc and then also the base like exploding, or is it just them training?
The 4-episode arc with Colonel Meeber Gascon and George Lucas's favorite Clone Wars episode.
Oh, D Squad. I think it's Domino.
My bad. I was thinking of the droids. So the General Plankton and the 4 astromechs.
I am so sorry, George Lucas. I know you love this. That is probably a 5.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna be
it's
honest.
great. I love it, but it's not my favorites.
It's THX in space. So thank you.
Well, and I'll admit, not a proud Star Wars fan moment for me, but that was the first time I watched it because that would have premiered, gosh, like 2012, 2013.
Something like that, yeah.
That episode started, Colonel Meeber Gascon walked on screen, and I turned off the TV and went and did something else. I have seen it since then.
Hey, what I can thank Meeber Gascon for is that without his creation, Scuba Stev from Jedi Survivor wouldn't exist, and if you don't need to know who that is, but he's the best.
I was gonna say I don't think I know who that is yet because I haven't played that game yet, but we'll see.
When you get to him, he is the best side character, definitely in the game, maybe in any Star Wars game.
I'm surprised, honestly. That's who I thought you were gonna say when the Glub Shadow question came up. So
he's like. I got Scoob up my tooth.
Is this the frog-looking guy?
No, that's Turgle.
Okay.
Oh, Turgle can get out of here, bro. He ain't got nothing on Scuba Stev. Right?
Okay. I'll radio back in when I played that game. All right.
Yeah.
So coming up next, so we got Siege of Mandalore at 1, Rako Hardeen at 3, D Squad at 5. So coming up next, I don't remember what to call this, so I'm just going to call it from the characters that it is, Jar Jar and Mace.
That sounds like a strong 4 to me.
Yeah. How did D Squad get beat out by them? Okay. Yeah. 4.
It's fun. That's where is that where they go to like Bardata, and then there's like Mother Talzin shows up out of nowhere, and I'm like, you're alive, and then the show ended for like 5 years.
Hey, I will say, I recommend revisiting those episodes. I think they're a lot of fun. It's Mace Windu and Jar Jar Binks on like an Indiana Jones adventure. I have a good time with those.
It's
but
just
it was
straight up
intended to be a bit.
It's just straight up Temple of Doom.
Like, yeah.
Never thought Jar Jar would be Indiana Jones and Mace Windu would be Short Round. You know.
So what's funny about this is I spaced completely on how this will relate to y'all. So I'm feeling very stupid. But we got Siege of Mandalore at 1, Rako Hardeen at 3, Jar Jar and Mace at 4, D Squad at 5, and so going into number 2. The Mortis arc. I literally forgot your name is Mortis FM. So fantastic podcasting on my part. But yeah, Siege of Mandalore, Mortis, Rako Hardeen, Jar Jar and Mace, and D Squad. So it sounds like that's pretty much what y'all would have done.
Yeah, that's literally probably it. I would have switched probably the Jar Jar and Mace thing for 5, but 4 and 5 is not a. That's fine.
Yeah,
you can tell we do a lot of these because this is exactly how I plan them out. Where I like throw people for loops of like throwing in random ones, and then it's like, but could he be on here? Like we had Michael Canavo on like on our most recent pre-recorded episode, and I still laugh at that little bit, Will, where we were like, and your number 1 is, and then you just say 99, and he's like, is it really 99? And I'm like, no, I'm kidding. It's Captain Rex. It's Captain Rex.
Well, it's like when I had Bobby and Dante on that we mentioned earlier. I did a blind ranking of Star Wars sidekicks, and I put Jar Jar Binks up first. full disclosure, no hate on Jar Jar, but I figured that would be an easy 5. I had no idea that Bobby was the biggest Jar Jar fan in the world.
Yeah, you picked the wrong guy.
I had no clue.
Jar Jar 5.
And I was like, oh, okay, right on, cool. So then when I hit him next with Chewbacca the Wookiee, they were like, oh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We had them on doing some stuff. There's 3 things that Bobby loves. It's battle droids, it's Jar Jar Binks, and it's B-Wings.
Oh.
That's his thing.
Right on.
Yep.
B-Wings are red. Well, all right, guys. This has been legitimately awesome. Thanks for coming on the show.
Dude, of course.
I'll roll out the red carpet. If anybody doesn't know, let them know where they can find you and where they can find your stuff.
You go first.
Who talks first? You talk first. I'm just kidding. Well, I'll let Will plug all of our stuff. You can find me at Mortis FM on pretty much everything other than the Bird app or the X app, however you want to talk about it. That is Mortis FM _, because someone back in 2012 took Mortis FM, which is crazy to me, but you know what? That's just the way it is. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok, YouTube. Yeah, that's me.
Right on.
Yeah. The podcast that Grayson and I do together is Determined Focus. Those episodes come out on Mondays when we do live episodes on Mondays around 7:30 EST. We also do interviews that come out periodically throughout with other people who have worked in Star Wars and Star Wars creators and just other people who love Star Wars. And then outside of Determined Focus, which you can find on Instagram at Determined Focus or on the Bird app as well at Determined Focus. If you need one more guy talking about Star Wars on the internet, just one more, because you can't have enough, you can go ahead and follow me at Will of the Force everywhere. But go follow Determined Focus. That's please.
If you're going to Determined Focus, you will find both of us, because
yes,
that's just the way it is. We're a family unit here.
Yep.
Right on, guys. All right. Well, the force of others will be with you. And for now, I'm going to send it back to me and Zach.
And we are back. Hope you enjoyed that interview. If you're new to the show, get in the comments, like, subscribe, do all the annoying YouTube things, and do the 5-star review, annoying podcast things. It all does help out the show. We got lots of stuff coming in the next couple weeks. Next week, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to become the force of other stuff, as we are coming up on 86 years of Batman. Batman Day is right around the corner, and next week is going to be all about the Dark Knight. So we'll see y'all next week for a celebration of Bruce Wayne himself, and in the meantime, remember, the force of others will be with you, always.
The Force of Others, a Star Wars podcast.